Right now, somewhere in an office you'll never see, some of the most brilliant engineers on the planet are working on a single problem. Not curing disease, not getting us to Mars. Their problem is you. Specifically, how to make sure you never quite manage to look away. How to keep your eyes right here for a few seconds longer. Because your attention has become the most valuable thing you own. And there is a war being fought over it every single day. The strange part? Most of us never even noticed we'd been drafted. Let me show you the battlefield. You know the feeling. You pick up your phone to check one thing, the time, a message, the weather, and then you surface. 40 minutes later, thumb aching, no memory of what you actually came for. We treat that like a personal failing, a lack of willpower. It isn't. Back in 1971, an economist named Herbert Simon noticed something it would take the rest of us decades to feel. He pointed out that when information becomes overwhelming, the thing it quietly devours is your attention. In other words, in a world drowning in content, attention is the scarce resource, and scarce resources have a price. Here's how scarce it's gotten. Researchers who actually tracked people on their screens found that in 2004, we'd stay focused on one thing for about 2.5 minutes before switching. By 2012, 75 seconds. Today, 47 seconds. Now, you've probably heard that humans now have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. Catchy, also completely made up. There's no real study behind it. The truth is stranger, and it's not about your brain shrinking. It's about what's being done to it. To understand the war, follow the money. Think about the apps you use most, the feed you scroll, the videos that autoplay. The thing they almost all have in common is that they're free. No subscription, no price tag, which should make you suspicious because running these platforms costs billions. So who's paying? Advertisers. And what are they buying? You. Or more precisely, your attention and the data that comes with it. Here's the machine in 1 sentence. The platform gives you something free and endlessly engaging. You give it your time and your focus. That focus gets measured, packaged, and sold to whoever wants to put something in front of your eyeballs. This isn't a conspiracy, it's just the business model. There's an old line that sums it up. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. But it's sharper than that. You're not just the product. Your attention is the currency. It's what flows through the entire system. Every second you spend looking is a fraction of a cent changing hands somewhere. Multiply that by a few billion people, several hours a day, and you get some of the largest companies in human history, built almost entirely on harvesting moments of human focus. This is what people mean when they call attention the new oil. It's the raw material. And like oil, there's a whole industry devoted to extracting as much of it as possible, as cheaply as possible. Which raises the obvious question. If my attention is that valuable, what exactly are they doing to get it? This is where it gets uncomfortable, because the answer is they engineered it. Nothing you feel when you open these apps is an accident. Take the simplest gesture. Pull down to refresh. Drag your thumb, let go, wait for the little spinner, see what appears. Remind you of anything? It's a slot machine. The exact same psychology. You pull the lever, and sometimes you get nothing, and sometimes you get something great. A like, a message, a video you love. Psychologists call it a variable reward, and it is one of the most addictive patterns ever discovered. Slot machines run on it, so does your feed. Then there's infinite scroll. The bottom of a page used to be a natural stopping point, a moment where you could ask, do I actually want to keep going? So they removed it. The feed never ends. The engineer who invented infinite scroll has since said publicly that he regrets it, that he helped build something that swallows hundreds of millions of hours of people's lives every single day. And it goes on. Autoplay, so the next video starts before you can decide to leave. Notifications, those little red dots, engineered in the most alarming color, tuned to pull you back. Streaks, so you feel guilty for stopping. The number under your post, so your self-worth gets quietly tied to a metric someone else controls. None of these features exist to help you. They exist to keep you. And here's the thing. A growing number of the people who designed all this have walked away, uneasy about what they built. As one of them put it, a handful of people at a handful of companies get to steer what billions of human beings think and feel each day. That's the war. The weapons are dopamine, color, sound, and the oldest human fear there is, missing out. And for years, you've been losing it without even knowing the fight was on. So what does it actually cost you? Not money, something harder to get back. Start with the obvious. Every time your focus breaks, a buzz, a glance, a quick check, it isn't a quick check. Researchers found it takes around 25 minutes to fully return to what you were doing. 25! So a day sprinkled with just 1 second interruptions isn't a day with a few seconds lost. It's a day where deep focus barely gets to exist at all. And it adds up to something worse than lost time. The same research found that the more people switch their attention, the more stress they feel. The fragmentation itself is exhausting. You end the day tired, wired, and somehow with nothing finished. But here's the part that should really get your attention. Focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, what you don't use, you lose. When every spare moment, every cue, every elevator, every pause in a conversation gets instantly filled with a screen, you slowly lose the ability to sit with a single thought, to read a long book, to be bored, which it turns out is where a lot of creativity actually comes from. And it's hitting the youngest hardest. The psychologist Jonathan Haidt argues that an entire generation grew up with this machine wired into their childhood, and that we're seeing the result in their anxiety, their focus, their mental health. Whether or not you agree with every part of his case, the trend is hard to ignore. So this is the real bill. Not the minutes, the slow erosion of your ability to think deeply, to be present, to direct your own mind. That's what's being spent. And most of us never agreed to the price.
For a long time,
the energy
advice
doesn't
was
just vanish.
use more willpower,
bends and
try
loops
harder.
back on
But
itself,
you can't
creating an
out-willpower
endless
1,000
paradox.
engineers and $1 billion incentive. So lately, the fight has moved somewhere new, out of your hands and into law. In December 2025, Australia did something no country had done before. It banned social media outright for anyone under 16. Not a suggestion, a ban, with fines of tens of millions for the platforms that don't comply. And within a single month, those platforms had removed around 4.7 million accounts belonging to kids. But here's the honest part, and your video should be honest because it's more interesting. It hasn't gone smoothly. One study found that nearly 3/4 of 14 and 15-year-olds simply didn't comply, largely because none of their friends were either. When everyone breaks a rule, the rule stops feeling real. Meanwhile, Europe is taking a different angle. Instead of banning the users, they're going after the machine itself, proposing to outlaw the addictive features. Things like infinite scroll and autoplay, at least for minors. And other countries are watching all of it, deciding which path to copy. So there's a real debate happening right now, in real time. Do you lock people out, or do you redesign the thing so it stops preying on them in the first place? There's no settled answer yet, but notice what's changed. For the first time, the people who build the machine are being told by governments that the war for your attention might not be theirs to win by any means necessary. That's new, and it tells you something. Your attention being valuable isn't just your problem anymore. It's becoming everyone's.
But you don't have to wait for a law, because once you can see the machine, you can start switching off its parts, one by one. Think of your attention the way you think about money. You have a budget, it's limited, and right now a lot of it is being spent automatically on things you'd never choose on purpose. So take it back, deliberately. Start with notifications. Almost all of them are designed to interrupt you, not help you, so turn them off. Nearly all of them. Watch how fast the phantom urge to check fades when nothing is buzzing. Try turning your screen to grayscale, strip the color out, and suddenly the apps lose a huge amount of their pull, because a lot of that pull was just bright candy-colored design. Add friction. Log out of the apps that eat you alive. Delete them off your phone so opening them takes real effort instead of a reflex. Every extra step is a moment where you get to choose. Then protect one block of real focus a day. One task, one screen, no switching. And notice how much more you get done, and how much calmer you feel doing it. And maybe the strangest tip of all, let yourself be bored. Don't fill every gap. Boredom isn't the enemy. It's where your own thoughts finally get a word in.
Here's where I'll leave you. Every minute of attention you spend is a kind of vote. A vote for what gets your mind, your time, your one short life. The companies fighting for it aren't evil. They're just very, very good at what they do. But you are not powerless here. You hold the currency. And the moment you start spending it on purpose, on the people, the work, the quiet that actually matters to you, the war starts to look very different. So that's my question for you. Where do you lose your attention the most? Tell me in the comments. And then, go spend it well.